She was just 17, full of life, laughter, and teenage dreams. But one night, Zion Foster left her mother's home in East Point, Michigan, and never came back. What followed was every parent's nightmare: mystery, lies, and a heart-wrenching confession that would lead to a garbage-filled grave and a community asking, why? This is the tragic story of Zion Foster, a story about betrayal, silence, and the desperate search for truth when it's buried in the most unimaginable place. Based on a true story by the LifeScope channel.
Welcome back to the LifeScope channel. On your way in, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It's appreciated as always. It was January 4th, 2022. Zion Foster told her mother she was going to see a cousin. Nothing unusual, just another visit in the middle of a Michigan winter. But hours passed, then a day, then two. Zion wasn't answering her phone, and her social media went silent. Her mother, Sierra Foster, was panicked. She called the police, but the early responses, well, they were a little bit dismissive. She was told Zion probably ran away, despite the teen's clean record and close family ties. According to some reports, Zion Foster did have a prior history of running away. So when this incident was reported, some early law enforcement responses were based on that history. That's part of the reason why the disappearance was initially downplayed. Officers reportedly treated it as just another runaway case. However, her mother, Sierra Milton, pushed back against the narrative publicly. She insisted that this time felt different. Zion left with no clothes, no money, and stopped answering her phone. Sierra said she had always come back before, but this time the silence was chilling.
I'm nervous about a phone call. I'm nervous about a knock at the door. Of course, I'm hoping, I'm praying, I'm pleading, that is good news.
Sierra Milton has been living a nightmare since January 4th when her 17-year-old daughter Zion Foster went missing. A doorbell camera capturing Zion's cousin, picking her up that night from her home in East Point at 10:30 in his white Acura.
Zion's family pleaded for help as flyers were posted and searches were organized. But her cousin Jalen Davis, the last known person to see her alive, wasn't talking. He gave conflicting stories. At one point, he even claimed he dropped her off somewhere and had no idea what happened. But something wasn't adding up, and the pressure was building. Finally, after nearly a month, Jalen Davis confessed. In a stunning twist, he admitted that Zion had collapsed and died while they were together. He panicked. Instead of calling for help, he stuffed her body in a black garbage bag. And where did he take her? He took her to a dumpster. Not a burial, not even an attempt at a respectful goodbye, just thrown her away like she didn't matter.
Now to day 3 in the murder trial of Jalen Brazier. He's the man charged with murdering his cousin, Zion Foster. And today in court, a big focus on what Brazier told police about the night she died and what he says he did in the hours that followed. Now, Sean Lay has been watching this trial unfold from inside the courtroom. He joins us now live. And Sean, the defendant openly admitted to getting rid of her body.
Openly admitted, and pay attention to Brazier's demeanor as he tells police on a video days following her disappearance. Also, Brazier gives the better timeline that we didn't know about what happened after he says Zion Foster passed away on his couch. What did he do?
She just blinks out right there.
She laid her head back, so okay, I'm let you go to sleep for a bit, whatever.
Okay.
And then about 15 to 20 minutes after that, I was like, okay, are you good? You ready to go home? And she wasn't responding.
In the days following the disappearance of 17-year-old East Point teen Zion Foster, police were working to get every detail on what exactly happened to her from her favorite cousin, the last person to be with her, Jalen Brazier. Watch and listen closely. Brazier telling police it was Zion who brought marijuana to his home in January of 2022. The plan was to watch TV together. Brazier says he left the room, and when he came back...
And then you start shaking her. She doesn't wake up. You check her pulse. You think she's dead at that point, or does she still just have pain breathing? And
It wasn't anything.
there was nothing at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brazier says that he somehow was sure that Foster was dead. No life-saving actions were taken. He did not call 911. He did not call Zion's mom. He did not call his girlfriend, who was at work. Instead, Zion remained on his couch until 2 a.m. Brazier said he decided to dispose of her body. He tells investigators in such a calm voice. No remorse, no alarm, no shock in his demeanor at all.
And then I put her into the trunk and I just dumped her body.
All right, back here live. So more of that timeline about leaving Zion's body on the couch until 2 and allegedly dumping the body, Zion's body, in a dumpster in Highland Park. After that, those remains have never been found. So a lot of DNA evidence now coming up in the trial. But guys, at 6 o'clock, we'll dig into the DNA that was presented today, found in Brazier's car, but how it's not helpful right now to the prosecution. Guys, back to you.
All right, Sean, sounds like a lot to unpack, and we'll be checking back in with you at 6.
What really happened inside of Jalen Davis's house that night? Some believe Jalen had plans. He invited Zion over under the guise of family, although technically Jalen and Zion are not blood-related cousins, but through marriage. Did he have ulterior motives? Maybe he tried to make a move on Zion. Maybe he expected something that Zion wasn't comfortable with giving. Did she refuse his advances and try to leave? All we know for sure is that at some point, Zion stopped breathing. Jalen claims she just collapsed. No explanation, no panic, just silence. Even Zion's mother, Sierra, stated publicly that Jalen was much older and she was uncomfortable with him spending time with Zion, despite the title of them being favorite cousins, allegedly. Jalen was 23 years old, while Zion was just 17. In interviews and social media, Sierra suggested that she didn't consider them to be close family and thought his intentions toward Zion were inappropriate. There's no indication of sexual assault from what was publicly released, but the context raises deep concerns about grooming, manipulation, and/or inappropriate boundaries. However, some can criticize Zion's mother by asking the simple question, if you really thought Jalen was possibly up to something, then why not discourage Zion from going out with him or hanging out with him so much? Since there wasn't a body to prove any wrongdoing besides what we think happened or what could have allegedly occurred, Jalen Davis was sentenced to 23 months in prison, not for murder, but for lying to the police. Zion's family and the community were outraged. How could a life be discarded so easily and the punishment be so light? Zion didn't get a goodbye. She didn't get justice. She didn't even get a grave. Instead, her memory lives as fragments on missing posters, in court transcripts, and in a mother's shattered voice echoing through empty bedrooms and sleepless nights. Is this the end to the Zion Foster story? Will we ever know what happened that night from Jalen Davis? I'm going to end this video with giving Zion Foster's mother the last word. But before I do, don't forget to like, share, definitely subscribe, and support the channel. And until next time, bye.
Didn't you think about my baby? What if you were so high you didn't know she was alive? And you just threw her in a dumpster in the cold without a coat? crushed in the process of how trash is taken and picked up and placed in a landfill where she will never be found. I will never know. I won't get to see my baby again. And as far as the many times that I went to his house during the search, Your Honor, he helped me post flyers of my baby in his neighborhood, on the corner of his house, the street that he lives.